what we thought about the masculine that penetrates, it's not penetrates. It's an answering to a call of potential and then come when you're called. Don't push it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we're also changing the nature of our lovemaking. The pleasure of life, the parts of us that feel pleasure and allow that pleasure to communicate what's more and what's less and in which direction, same like in the lovemaking.
Yeah.
We shift the whole we shift the whole mechanism of creation from force into organic and from pain to pleasure. It's very nice. There is a sprinkly rain. There are butterflies all around.
Yeah.
The flowers of gardenia are putting their smell. So it's like these are senses that cannot pass through the camera.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But they're present here.
They are
it's
really present.
Very present, yeah.
Yeah. And it's a wonderful day here in Kopangan. And yeah, thank you for welcoming me here in your paradise,
Yes,
in your
thank you,
garden.
Thank you.
Michal, welcome to the Natural Biohacker podcast.
Yes, thank you. My pleasure.
Yeah, and we will talk today about some different topics, but we've been yesterday on a talk with you here in Shivari in a big retreat center here, and you talked about the inner child.
Right.
And I want to start directly with the question, why is it important for entrepreneurs to focus on the work with the inner child?
Well, because a lot of things are going through change right now.
Mm-hmm.
The system is changing. The operating system in our planet is changing.
Yeah.
It's upgrading itself, right? According to light and consciousness that is coming to the planet and give us new potentials and new ways to experience this creative energy. Yeah. So the creative energy is created, but it's bow to the laws of the universe, of the physical universe, which we bring this creativity into manifestation.
Yeah.
And it was working in a certain way for a certain reason.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's changing. So if we want to adapt the change and the growth in all levels of our being, yeah, in like a human level, a soul level, a creative level, every level you want to expand yourself.
Yeah.
There are some processes available for us that would take us through this expansion by choice.
Mm-hmm.
The other way of this expansion is by the mechanism of change in the default, which is we will die and then rebirth again, right? Like go reincarnate again into a new and adapted world.
Yeah.
By the way, I have to say that not many will agree with me, and that would be okay. That many are doing it. They're checking out. They'll come back to the planet, reincarnate into physical level.
Yeah.
In different times. But those who are here right now, in a way, are ready and committed into the process of transformation by choice, not by evolution. We free ourselves and we are aware of the process that sets us free. We always free ourselves. We free ourselves from the physical realm and reincarnate to the physical realm by death. But this time we're doing it by choice. And this is why, in a way, it's called free choice. Because choice can set us free.
Yeah.
Now, it's good to say free choice, but we need to understand what this concept means. So it's not like free choice as everybody thinks. Like it's a different way of free choice. So yeah, inner child in that sense is tap into the inner child and work with the inner child in a sense is a process that we can do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now it's a little bit kind of a spiritual concept, maybe here in Kopangan. So it's really common to speak about the inner child work. So when you think of like an entrepreneur, like a classic entrepreneur who is like driven by his mission, driven by his work, but maybe has some problems and issues with stress, with issues with leadership and with his team, and maybe also like personal or health struggles. So when you talk to him like that, yeah, you need to focus on your inner child. So maybe this guy is like saying,
what is she saying?
Yeah, what is she saying? What is the inner
Who
child?
Is this person? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So again, it depends on your approach to life at the time. So we learn to accept that life is hard sometimes, that it's, we learn to accept a lot of agreements about this life and live with them. And within those agreements, we try to make better, but we are locked inside of these agreements, and we learn to accept them. And I learned to compromise, and I learned to lower my expectations and all that kind of stuff, and it protected me.
Yeah.
What is now to be truth, if people want to see it this way, and they in a way have to see it in this way, because adapting into the problems is no longer satisfying us. It's become almost like a suffering, so uncomfortable that you can't feel comfortable within the uncomfortable that you learn to feel, right? It's becoming, it's in a way pushing us.
I know what you mean.
Like so because I'm seeing it from a feminine wisdom, it is the uncomfortable of the birth, of the pregnancy, that we learn to adjust because it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. But when the birth starts, the uncomfortable is push us to give birth, and this is what happens now.
Okay.
Right?
I imagine that. Okay.
Reality now pushes us. And it says, look at the uncomfortable, because this is what needs to adapt and change. There is the answer. Look at where you before accepted. Look there, and in a way, don't accept it. Accept is part, and accept is part of the process, because there is one part of you that says, don't look there. So look there, accept it, and then say, okay, it's time for a change, consciously change what I learned to accept. What is creating my reality, and which within the reality there are struggles in my life. Is that clear?
Yeah, I think it's clear, because you just mentioned it really well, to see the reality and to also like accept the reality, but then you are able to change it.
Right.
And the inner child work is maybe something we can use as a tool.
Right.
So we can dive in later in like really practical things about how to work with your inner child, or what is your inner child. But first of all, I want to introduce you as well to our audience, because you are also an entrepreneur, you're a mom, and you're also like doing a lot of ceremonies here on the island, a lot of community work. So really grateful to have you in my field and to work with you as well.
Thank you.
But tell us a little bit about your way as an entrepreneur or as a businesswoman, and how you evolved, like, or how your business evolved right now from like past businesses, maybe.
So we can talk about entrepreneurs in specific, and those of you who are entrepreneurs, they know it because they always felt this need
You can just.
Yeah. They always felt this need to create, to initiate, to take a path that no one walked in, to bring something that was never here before, to create from the authentic energy.
Yeah.
But that's not only for the entrepreneurs today. So in a way, all of us are becoming entrepreneurs. What the entrepreneurs showed us, how it's been done, how you fully go where your heart tells you to go, no matter what's the price or the outcome or whatever, is now a call for everybody to act on, to draw abundance into their lives. So yeah, we can talk about the entrepreneurs, but in a way it's a representative to those who first showed us how to tap into an authentic energy.
Yeah, it's a kind of leadership as well. So
Yes,
people who
yes,
try something new, people who try to create solutions for problems which are already existing. Yeah.
And so, like you said, it became leadership, but the leadership is changing also. So it's not about leading, it's about how we work as a team creator on this planet, right? And how we learn that everybody has this authentic, unique energy to follow. And when one is following that, therefore they're bringing what they need to bring and what's missing. And when everybody knows what their authentic energy, and when everybody knows that what you bring is not what it can never be what I bring, and vice versa, we're not stepping on each other's toe, and we can only create together, right? We can only join together and say, okay, my vision is this, and I recognize your ability and your authentic quality, which you do in the best way that you can do. And can that dream join together, and then we can create together? So the leadership is not a leadership, is a more an entity, and it's more like ecosystem that we are building consciously.
Yeah.
That says every one of us is a unique individual expression or perspective of the divine, of the one divine.
Yeah, I understand.
And how can I create with that quality? How can I join that quality into my quality? And together we can bring something that was never there before.
Yeah.
Right? So this is how I learned to work in my life, because I am the entrepreneur's the old way, as a manifestor, and this is all just helping us, but it's not valid at the moment. All the system is changing, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay.
But this is how I learned to not take this quality of mine into the ego part of me. But to understand my unique gift in the world, which is to see visions, to dream, to be able to see what is needed in order to create, the steps, the logic, but also the understand that I can never do it alone. I'm not supposed to do it alone. It's not mine. Once this idea start to take steps in the physical world, it's already independent. It's not mine.
Yeah, I think this is also a really important shift. A lot of maybe self-employees need to do in order to becoming entrepreneurs, or in order to becoming change makers. And I am too, like the lonely wolf, like doing everything on myself. And I'm really happy to be in community and to share, and also like to work together and collaborate.
Right.
But sometimes it comes like I do it alone. So yeah, and it's also for me, it's a big shift which is needed to open myself for, no, I don't need to do it alone.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here is the connection to the work of the inner child.
Okay.
Right. So if we want to shift into the new understanding that we no longer need to do it alone, we shifting into trusting community, into learning to team up, learning to open more. If we want to do that, we have to change the definition that was programmed in our mind. And again, when I say programmed in our mind, and when I say the old agenda, I don't mean it in a negative way.
Okay.
So I don't have any criticism about how the world is running now, because it brought us all here.
Yeah.
And that's the only reality that we are facing. It's not good or bad. It is what it is. And if we want change, we want to go into that program and release the energy. Now, a lot of people believing in reprogramming. For me, this is another old system that helped the disabled be a better disabled. Right?
Okay.
So what I mean now is to release the energy from the program and understand that the new already knows itself and organically let it come through us. When you do that, you release a deeper programming of working hard, of doing physically, and you allow the intelligence and everything that already created to work for us and give us back. That is also an upgrade of the love that is experienced here on the planet. Instead of love that is going out of us, it's a love that is asking us to receive and to allow that to create for us.
Okay.
So when you ask someone what is love for you, at some point they will say it's the unconditional giving. Right? Because this was the motivation that made us work hard.
Yeah.
The love to our children and our family made us work million hours a day to bring food to the table. The love to the land make us go out in the rain, and the love to that made us do all these things and hard.
Yeah.
Now the love is asking us, how about you sit, enjoy, and let me give you back everything that you are? Because that love made you create, and that love wants to come back to you as an abundance. You've already created. Now let it work.
So it's a little bit about also to harvest now, like the good fruits. Or
see, this is also doing.
Okay.
To harvest.
Okay.
It's more intelligence than that. It's to receive. It's simply to be able to receive. Again, I'm jumping a little bit forward, but it's naturally coming to us when we do the work of the inner child and we go into the old programming and definition, and we release the energy from there, and we allow. So we used to work. Now we allow.
Yeah.
It's a very different code.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. It's a very different motor to allow, right? I'm going to explain you. Do you know the old cars that we used to turn the engine with the head?
Yeah.
And now we just allow the engine to work?
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Okay.
Right? Because the intelligence of the engine is already there. So the intelligence of creating is already. We already discovered that we are creators. Now let the creative energy create for us in a most organic, natural way. How you do it? You just imagine you dream, you initiate, you attract,
Yeah.
you hold new rules of manifestation. This is another topic. So we
Yeah.
can follow that with the new manifestation in the new world. But you don't even have to learn that, because once you did the healing work of the old programming,
Which is inner child.
yes,
Yeah.
you're already receiving the manifestation codes. It's come to you. There are some teachers of this. There are a lot of guiders and helpers that are saying, okay, listen, the new system on your planet is waiting for you.
Okay. All right. Maybe let's try to define a little bit the work
Okay.
of inner child. Like you said something about it's the reprogramming, or it's not the reprogramming?
It's releasing the energy
Releasing
that
the
is
energy.
locked in a program.
This is locked in a program.
Right.
Okay, so maybe you can just define it in a few words. So how is it look like, the work with the inner child? And yeah, what kind of possibilities are in this realm? Because I think inner child work can be a lot of things.
Right.
It can be on the body, and the physical, emotional,
Right.
spiritual.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, like I said, there is a certain amount of resistance and pain in our world that make us look in instead of out, right?
Yeah.
Because when everything is okay, everything is okay.
Yeah.
But when things are not okay, I am looking for the answers, or looking for the reasons, or looking for the solutions. And it's always built in within what you think the problem is. So you have to find the problem. And the problem is not a problem. It's a story.
Yeah.
It's a story that used to work until it doesn't work. So if the story, it's like history, same root. It's a story. It means it's already been written. So we take the now timeline and we shift into the timeline that we call the past.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking backwards, right? And there we can start to see the pattern. Pattern is how the story, in a way, how the technology of the story builds. We can see it's like watching a movie and understanding the design behind the movie, right?
The production.
Yes, right? So when we are in the story, we identify ourselves with what's going on in the story. But when we look at the story from the outside, we can already see behind the identities, right? Because we are not attached to it. And in every story, there is a principle. There is, it's a drama. It's something that happens. It's a movement, right? So all that movement is the issue.
Okay.
Right? All the movement. It's not just part of the identity. It's the whole movie is the movie.
Yeah.
So when we look at it, we have the ability to look at all the identity and all the drama that is happening.
Yeah.
And when we say to release the energy, what I mean by that is to bring that story into neutrality, into a neutral state that actually has no meaning. Because when the story is told in a certain way, it gives a meaning. So it puts a charge on the energy. And if we want to recreate, we have to release the charge from the energy. In a new manifestation, in order to create new, you have to bring back the elements into neutrality, and then you can sort of charge them again with a different idea.
Okay.
The inner child work is to go into the story that your mind is giving them only one meaning and perspective. Who is the good guy? who is the bad guy, what happened. And to say there is actually many perspectives of which you can see. And what you do, you switch parts. In your disattachment, you can look at the story from the from different perspective.
Yeah, it's like
and consider it to be right.
Yeah.
And when all these perspectives are right, there is no right perspective. And if there is no right perspective, there is no wrong perspective. And if there is no right or wrong, it's always neutral.
Yeah.
And a little tip that I would give, that it's never actually neutral. It's when it's neutral for the human is on the positive way. Okay? Yeah. That's a little bit from the quantum physics.
Can you maybe give us an example of maybe from you or from one of your clients or something, like example of this story and how to step out of the story, so see the story as a movie and then be able to reframe it and change perspectives and
everyone knows that when we do work with our parents, we discover things that happen in our childhood that were not for our best interest, but they were what the parents could do, right? So let's go to a father that set very powerful boundaries on their kids about a behavior and about how they should behave around other people, like be polite, be nice to other people, right?
Yeah.
And in order to receive the father love, that could cause, and I'm taking an extreme, that could make the child split into two ways. One that pleases people, and the other one is the opposite. So we go to different people and we see that there is a polarity inside of them. Yeah, the polarity is the people pleaser, and there is always another polarity inside of their life, which is the opposite of the people pleaser.
Which is a kind of a shadow or something? Can you call it?
It's all of it is in the shadow. But when we start to discover, like we say, okay, I'm a person pleaser. That's one part of the shadow. But the other part of the shadow is what you claim to be the opposite of people pleaser. And I say, what would be the opposite for you from a people pleaser?
A people pleaser, maybe kind of a rebel or something.
How is it gonna come to an action?
Yeah, maybe someone who is like angry or who is like not letting others to
yeah, so that's the note. But what would be the yes of that thing? Like, what would be the yes part? Like a rebel, what would he do?
Yeah, just don't listen to people.
So go the opposite direction of what people tell them?
The opposite direction of what people tell them.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
If you don't listen to people, what do?
You disobey.
You disobey.
Yeah.
So this could take people into criminals.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So
or being violent, maybe with words or with deeds. Yeah.
So we can see that a person that claimed to be a people pleaser would own that, but then they will be dating criminals or attracted to criminal.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. No.
Right?
No. What do you mean?
So their polarity. Is always in the way. And to not please people, they can either be a criminal, or they can stay please people and then date criminals.
Okay.
Right? So the polarity will always be in the field. So we can see the split that happened to the kid and how they perceive reality through this. You're either people pleaser or a criminal.
Yeah.
These people don't have the gray area of the in-between,
Yeah.
of being able to say sometime no to an authority,
Mm.
and sometime to say, yes, it's okay, I will do what you asked me to, right? So they will see it through the eyes of these polarities.
Yeah.
So we have to show them, and this is what often comes in the healing. Like people say, okay, you haven't spoken your truth, now you have to speak the truth. So they become like the opposite of what they were, which is, it's not freedom.
And it's not healthy as well.
It's not healthy also. And this is happening a lot. And that was the previous trauma work, to jump into your polarity. And we can see this polarity also in the universe. We always bouncing between our government is, killing us, and our government is the obey, and we have to take the vaccine or this, or we have to go into going outside to the street and say that the government is killing us.
Yeah.
What if it's not this one or that one? What if there is no story? You just do what you feel like. You just tune into your personal belief truth without need to give it a meaning.
Then you live in peace.
You live in peace. You don't need to rebel the government. You don't need to do what the government tell you. You just need to be yourself. And it's always gonna work for you. This is what you don't know. They're gonna force you. Not, because if you're not in the story, you're not in the drama
Mm.
cannot affect you.
Yeah.
It's hard to know that, right? Now, in order to know that, you gotta go back to the Father. Because it's the relationship with your Father that created the split of pleasing and abusing, because the Father is the authority.
Yeah. Okay.
And you are relating into that in either way, right? Without understanding that, in fact, your Father has given you a great gift, because that's what fathers do.
Yeah.
He gives you the wisdom of the in-between. He gives you the range between your polarities. And that's a true healing.
Yeah.
This is when we talk about a complete perspective. It's not that the Father was bad to me, and then it was good to me because he loved me and that's how he taught me.
Yeah.
It was my Father gave me the greatest gift. It's not about that. It's about the energy.
Okay.
It's not about the Father and what he did or didn't do. It's about the energy of the Father.
And how you can get like the access to these energies, because sometimes, also in my case, I don't have like I don't have an existing relationship to my father.
Yeah.
Other ones maybe don't speak to them or can't speak to them. So, what is a practical way like to access?
Great question.
Yeah.
So since we live in the world of abundance, and abundance means whatever you need comes to you when you need it in the perfect divine timing, not 1 minute less, not 1 minute more, and in the most natural way, easy way, and graceful way. You don't have to. Yeah. So there is many ways to do it. There are people that teach it. There are medicine. There are processes. There are practices in the shamanic world, in the advanced psychology work, which is also going to the shadow and believes everything is within the shadow and the inner child. Nature can take us this way, right? Nature can actually, in the shamanic way and my belief, nature has all we need, because what we left behind is look around you.
Yeah.
This is you. It is not who you are.
Yeah.
it is you,
Mm-hmm.
right? It
Yeah.
is not a projection of you. It is literally you,
Yeah.
right? So every time you need an answer and you go into observing what we call the nature outside of us, it's like in 3D picture. When you look at it and suddenly it comes out, this is the way. But we learn it. We learn to see it.
Yeah.
And what we learn is also connected to mastermind. First, we need to know how the mind works. And the mind works in a very intelligent way, and it wants to protect you.
Yeah.
Which means it creates a distraction. Yeah, to distract you.
Okay, yeah, distraction, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if your mind tell you look there,
Yeah.
you look the other way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So this is we know how to work with the resistance.
Mm-hmm.
At first, we have to look at the resistance, go in the direction of the resistance, and then we can set new boundaries and blah blah blah. But to go back into your questions, first you need to want it. You need to understand and create a desire in you to evolve, to change. And when you have an intention to change, everything from that point is related to that change. Some say, I am among them, that we already did the desire, the intention to change. It's already happened.
Yeah.
So it's already changing. So everything that is happened already, for those who are in the planet at the moment and will not check out, it's already changing. It's already happening.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So it's just like also to see the reality, like you just said, and to but to take the choice again and to take like the decision again. So maybe it's more like taking the decision to want it, that something changes, and then go in this direction, and then you find the right people, you find the right circumstances and surroundings to evolve in the new you, like you said.
Well, the most powerful tool we have as humans is awareness. And the rule of awareness says that we are the creators of our own reality, consciously or unconsciously. So there is no them and they. There is, in order to reflect me, things. So there is them. So through my relationship with each and one of them that I see, I can reflect and mirror something inside of me.
Yeah.
So when there is a fracture in reality outside of me, this is where I need to go and take responsibility. So immediately I say, show me. Right? First.
Yeah.
It's not about solution because there is no problem.
Yeah.
But instead of, taking it outside of yourself, of which you giving your power outside by saying this is me and this is mine, and now I want to see how and what.
Yeah.
I take the power back, even if it makes me powerless. But I take the power back by the awareness that consciously or unconsciously I contribute and I create this reality, and I want to know how and why. That direction will take us into what we call the aspect of an inner child, which is another timeline that is already aware to itself, but in a very specific perspective. And this perspective is reinforcing itself into the reality of the now moment, so you can see it. Go back to that dimension where this perspective is created and bring the energy back to neutrality. And then everything that was created from there is disappear, and outside of this, there is no more issue. Right? Because the issue is back mirror. It's a back mirror. And like I'm seeing it here, but it's a back mirror.
Yeah.
So I'm going, I'm going into the thing in the back. I create
I create
the
more of
change.
that. Yeah.
And when I look back into, then it's not reflecting anything. It disappears. If there is meaningless,
Yeah.
here is meaningless.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is no issue with that perspective in the past, there is no issue with this perspective in the future or in the present. So if there is no issue with this perspective in my past life, jealousy, suppression, violent, abuse, if there is no energy, abusive energy in my past, there is no abusive energy in anywhere in creation for me from that moment. So if you want to tell the story that as a child you were abused and you're still telling that story instead of, there was a time that I looked at this perspective as an abuse, which you don't even need to say that, but okay. But it's not an abuse. It's not a trauma. It's a gift, which is very hard to say. Let's admit it, right?
Yeah.
Because then if your trauma is a gift, then those who caused you the trauma are your best friends now, right?
Yeah.
How to do it? It's a very intelligent process, right? It's intelligence. You can't force it on anyone to tell them that the person that abused them actually has given them the best gift in their life, and it's actually a form of a lover. It's a form of love. So as long as we talking about the trauma as if it's a trauma, there are distortion things related to that trauma in our now moment, because it's always mirroring back to say that this energy is still here.
Yeah.
Once you brought this energy into neutrality, there is no issues of that. So if you have a trauma, sexual wound or violent wound or addiction wound or whatever wound you have, and you haven't resolved it, it's going to come back. It's going to be here. You might do it more comfortable because you might have boundaries, and you might have avoiding, right? You can avoid sex, you can avoid relationships, you can avoid a lot of things, but you haven't jumped into new reality. And that is something that is available for us now, all of us.
Yeah. But you said in the talk yesterday, you said something really interesting for me as well. It was like we need to how did you put it? I think it's about the reality is happening always for us. So this is like the
in service to us.
Yeah, in service to
in
us.
Service
It's the first step.
To the divine nature. And the divine nature is to manifest more of its nature.
Yeah. So if we understand that, also when we had like a abusive past or violent past, but we have the mindset and the heart set maybe too of, okay, the reality is happening for me. And this was a gift. And this gift is to show me a new reality I'm just manifesting right now.
All your questions, when you shift into that kind of thinking, all your question is to reality is show me how it's true. Because otherwise it shows you how it's not true, because you believe it not to be true. Right? So it's a contradiction, and for a while it feels like an inner war, because it is. It is an inner war between the new that is already here and the old that is also already here, and trying to live through you again and 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 again.
Okay. Putting it like that and talking a little bit more about what you mentioned in the beginning, that we are like shifting now. Yeah, we are in a shifting phase of the world. And I also see it in the form we do business and do entrepreneurship. Like, I think it's a little bit, it's over, the hustle is over. We don't want to work harder and being more productive. It's more about what you said about allowance, that something happens through our energy, it's to embodying the new reality. So,
well, a little bit of architecture. We are shifting all the time. And we are now doing it consciously, because we are shifting all the time, but because the brain reinforces the state of mind and the perception of reality, we are just creating more density in the reality that we already know.
Yeah.
And it's in the physical body of creation, it's a stagnation.
Yeah.
It's a pressure, it's a charge. It's heavy, it's
Yeah.
dense.
Yeah.
Right? And it's pulling us into this, so what we call death. Eventually this death will release us, but we want to find a different way to do that. More intelligent, more advanced way to do that, and that's free choice. So we are shifting all the time, but if you reinforce reality, you're shifting, but you play the same movie. You have a full library, but you press play on the same reality all the time, instead of understanding that you can just look in a different perspective.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the experiment. Consciously, to do it consciously, to allow yourself to drop all your beliefs, all your perceptions, but it's crazy because it's all. And it's so scary.
Yeah.
We know it.
Yeah.
Those who are doing this work, you know it. It's when the ground underneath you start to shake and you're, oh my God, if I give that up, I have nowhere to hold anymore. But you already have nowhere to hold. Your world is crumbling and falling apart in front of your very eyes, and you can't hold, so let it go. Let it go. This is the capacity that you need to build inside of you. There is nothing to do anymore, but to allow. There's nothing to do, but pay attention to where you still hold from a place of fear of the unknown, from a place of who am I without it? Where you are God, that's the only reality, your energy that creates multiple of itself all the time.
Yeah, but I have the feeling it's all like, especially in business, it's like a collective trauma since decades already, that we need to work and that we need to work harder and be more productive and be being busy and all this kind of stuff.
What's oriented this is?
Yeah.
It's a masculine oriented,
yeah,
right? It's a pyramid. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
one way to look
Yeah.
at creation. It's one way to create.
Yeah.
Logically, hard work, penetrative. When we learn energy, we learn the mechanism of the dance of creation between the feminine and the masculine.
Yeah.
Now, the difference is that the masculine think its way and the feminine feels her way. The masculine create and the feminine allows. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
If I want to build a building, I have to logically put first, right? And I have to know it, and I have to do it in a certain order and obey the laws of this one, and then I will have this beautiful, strong, intelligent building, right?
Yeah.
But the feminine doesn't work this way. She doesn't give birth. She allows birth to come through her body because birth knows itself. The intelligence of the feminine is that magic that knows itself, is creativity that knows itself, is a potential that knows what it needs to manifest itself, including calling in the masculine part of it to bring certain logic and information and tools and to bring in. So what we thought about the masculine that penetrates, it's not penetrates. It's an answering to a call of potential, and then come when you're called. Don't push it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we're also changing the nature of our lovemaking.
Okay.
Right? We are more and more tuned into the divine feminine body.
What does that mean?
To set the love-making rhythm, to say, to tune into that intelligence of the body that feels itself, and say when is timing for everything. And the woman that holds the body, she is holding the feminine system and communicate it outside in order for the men, the representative of the masculine, until now it's changing also, but in order for the men to serve that and not the other way around.
Okay.
So also creation and the way we do things is changing according to the way we make love. Instead of forcing it on the bodies, which no one feels good about it. No man is feeling good about forcing itself. No woman feels good when she is not. So reality doesn't like the force anymore, which is why we're changing. Men and women, no matter which position they are.
Yeah.
I had enough from forcing things. And it's falling, that idea is falling apart. But it's just in the levels of how we manifest it, they're holding on to the last breath of this idea of forcing something and that it works.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
Yeah, and we see it also when we see it in politics and in wars and everything, which is created from this force of doing things and have
now, the thing is that the force works.
Yeah.
If the masculine, and I'm not talking about the men, I'm talking about the masculine. If the masculine forces itself on the feminine, we will have a baby.
Yeah.
Right? But that baby was created from that and therefore create intelligent. Now, look at the other way around. When the masculine is in service to the feminine communicating itself through the feeling, right? So the man is in service to the woman. The man is representing the masculine in the lovemaking. It can be, that doesn't matter. And the woman presenting the female, the woman, the feminine, right? So both of them are tuning into their energies. And the energy of the feminine is feeling herself and through the woman communicate her needs. And the masculine is feeling the needs of the feminine and provides.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's a love making in a different way. It's not force. It's just the natural organic way. However, there is a beautiful top secret in all of this. The woman communicates the feminine through the body, which respond to pleasure. It opens from pleasure. So when we are tapped into the pleasure of life, the parts of us that feel pleasure and allow that pleasure to communicate what's more and what's less and in which direction, same like in the love making.
Yeah.
We shift the whole we shift the whole mechanism of creation from force into organic and from pain to pleasure.
I like this
and
idea.
From pleasing each other and forcing each other into in service to each other.
Okay. Now it makes perfect sense what you said yesterday. It's to make love with your business is the way.
Yes. This is an ancient wisdom that's coming back into manifestation. What used to be in the poetry and in the potential is now being like fully grounded and embodied by us. It's the tantric way, the Sufic way, the love making with everything you do. You cook, love the cooking, be in service to the feminine potential of making yourself food, like making a baby. Yes, and start to smell. I'm like, I feel tomatoes today. And then the masculine says, okay, we're going to go and buy tomatoes. And then the feminine, the masculine provides the information where the feminine goes, what do I feel? And then in the end, you have the most perfect combination of meal, which gives you pleasure. Same with your business. What do I feel like to create? With who? Oh, this person, they're smart and they know, but I'm not feeling attracted to the way they make money. And so thank you very much. As much as you can promise me a lot of money, if it's not from pleasure, there will be a child, like I said, but that child will be, tuned with a certain kind of energy. And then Reinforce that kind of energy.
So it's like the relationship, or to evolve the relationship with your inner child, also to train your intuition, kind of.
Intuition is not a thing, it's a result of a thing. Intuition is something that is activated when you're feminine and masculine, when two types of the shadow, when your polarity is all working in balance, and those voices are working in as your advisors.
Yeah.
And they're like, take a minute, feel that, think that, align that, and then act on that. And then this is intuition. You just do it really fast. Make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, thank you. It's really interesting, like also that you're bringing on the feminine and the masculine, because maybe some people from the audience say now, okay, how can I act as a man or as a woman, as the counterpart? Yeah, and how is it possible to integrate both parts into our daily life?
Beautiful.
Because it sounds like really easy. Also, when you say it now with the cooking,
it's not really easy. It's very intelligent, and it works in stages, and we have to follow the stages. So it's a mathematical process. Consciousness is mathematic. Energy is mathematic. So it's not so this one, but the information is already there. So we're talking about inner child, right? So if we're talking about inner child, we're talking about the concept of family, which is why we have families, in order to understand us how it's built. So first there is mother and father, then there is a baby, then the baby has more babies. Like, okay, so, or you have many babies, or the baby have more babies, and da, 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 da. So when you do enough shadow work, and you pick up from all creation, all your inner child, and you create enough capacity in your energy to be embodied and power and responsible and know how to manage energy, you get into creativity. And creativity is masculine and feminine work. It's tantric. So it will bring you there organically.
Yeah.
So I love the new teachings, and I do not criticizing, but those who go to learn tantra without doing shadow work are playing with a very dangerous fire, because it's like telling kids to play in mama and papa, but in reality.
Okay.
Right? So first you have to do your work of inner child, shadow work, shamanic work, healing work, and then organically and naturally you will be open up to the tantric aspect of the creative energies, masculine and feminine, and really understand it the way each and everyone needs to understand it in their own story, in their own body, in their own relationship. It's not about if you're in a relationship with one man, two men, polyamory, monogamy. It's not about that. It's about how you approach that from the inner place. Are you full, or are you a child that is looking for mommy? Right? Or are you a mature human that is looking for the unity of the masculine and feminine within your reality? And that always can happen, whether if you love men or women, whether if you love 1 or 100. For me, in my perspective, it doesn't matter, because all potentials are open for us. It's not the what, it's the how for me. Right? And maybe the how will eventually lead us all to the what, and we will know what is for all of us. Maybe yes, maybe no. Some things I still discovering myself in my studies. Yeah?
Okay. You mentioned also shamanic practices. So when we do shadow work, when we do inner child work, and many people have then maybe certain ideas right now about shamanic rituals or about plant medicine, or well, what kind of what do you mean with shamanic work? So what is your definition of that?
When the foundation of my work is energy, is shamanic.
Okay.
For me. when I look for the energy first, the energy teaching, the energy wisdom, and then I bring it into doesn't matter what, science, psychology, mathematics, numbers, material, like, all the other realms. But when I look at things from the energy point of view, it's funny because looking at things from the energy point of view immediately tells you that there is a body to everything, and the body is more important than the energy. Not more important in the important, but in the priority of what we need to take care of. The body of things is more important than the energy. So that means your car needs to be taken care of, right? And your body needs to be taken care of before you plan the trip to the ocean, right? Before you wanna go to the ocean, and you wanna drive there by car. So the state of your car and the state of your body comes first to the idea of driving there, right? Which is the energy of the manifesting, right? Because so in the physical world, it is very, very, very important to that the energy tells you recognize the body and take care of the body first. Then we talk.
Just basically our work,
So this is shamanic. So it took me a while and a lot of astral travel and a lot of talk with the angels and divines and dragons and to understand that I need to go back into this physical tiny little body and take care of that, because working with the energy of dragon, it doesn't matter if I'm not healthy. Yeah.
And you made the experience also like a businesswoman here on the island. So you have several businesses here, and you just told us yesterday as well about the Green Gallery. Yeah, it was like a art gallery, but also a restaurant. So on. This was.
I would love to call it a shamanic center, because this was a manifestation from the shamanic energy. So Green Gallery was a manifestation of a lot of my own shamanic practice, and it affected my community, it affected my life, it affected the island, it affected a lot of people that came there. But the initiate energy moved from the shamanic practice that I was doing it.
Okay, let's dive a little bit deeper into that, because I think it's a really interesting process for a lot of people, maybe also business men and women who want to create something and something which has impact as well. So how was the process, the shamanic process of creating Green Gallery?
So it started before with me, with my awakening around 2012. Which was a big wave of the initiators.
Oh, yeah.
And it came through a crisis with the father of my child, that not him, but the situation took with it all my allegedly dreams of reality, and all of a sudden I wake up and understanding that I'm in a small hell. Which was big hell for me.
Yeah.
And nothing goes as I expected and as I planned. What called life slapped me.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So it started there, but it was good, because my reality there was very different. I mean, I was a mother already, so I was kind of clean in my body. I was not drinking and this, but the state of mind was a lot around addictions. I was not an addict, but I was heavy user of, whatever distract me in life and So, yeah, I kind of knew how to be careful, but it's not really true. So this is the first slap, and really I got to a point that I was asking myself, what's the point to live? And I had a little baby in my hands, so there was a little point to live. And I asked to see the point to live, because even looking at my daughter, I didn't really see it. I knew it's there, but I couldn't really feel it and see it.
But you've been in Kopangan where you got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And universe, or my own energy, heard my call to awaken and to find the point to live, because that's what life brings you into. The awakening is finding the desire to live. This is the awakening.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like rainbows. It's more like being hit by a bus.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Feels this way as well.
Yeah.
So I wanted to die, and then life gave me the opportunity to choose to live, to awaken. And what did that to me at the time, because my ego is very strong, is ayahuasca. So ayahuasca created a certain process of death and rebirth. At the time, I knew how powerful it is, but I did not know that this has shifted my whole life into something else. And gave me a window of time that the motivation was again to create, to go back to my power, And I established Green Gallery, which was, I dreamed about it in the shamanic process. I follow fire. And the fire, I light a fire. It was a vegan restaurant at the beginning. I gave a promise to the fire to not forget my soul when I go back to life by lighting a fire.
Yeah.
So I light a fire, and the fire light up the community. And things started to move on. Little that I know, that this was not hell. This was a way to hell. Because just as I thought that I am having my head above the water and I'm picking my life back, and I went back to make money, which I lost in my depression, and my child was happy again, and I'm okay, and and community and money and everything. I got sick. And I had a lump or tumor or whatever you're going to call it, doesn't matter, on my thyroid.
Okay.
Which is very related to a feminine. And because I already took the shamanic, I took the responsibility, and I said, again, I have a choice, life or death. Again, my daughter said, I need you, stay here.
Yeah.
And I chose again life. And then I chose to go deeper into the path of healing that. And this is where I discovered trauma. A story of a trauma.
Yeah.
Very disturbed story. Childhood, sexual, and if I thought I was in hell when I separated from the man who is the father of my child, I was, I was pushed down underneath the water, feeling like I'm drowning, feeling like, what is going on here? And yeah, so I started deep healing of trauma work, shadow work. So ayahuasca called me again and said, you ready to look there? I'm like, no, but I will.
Yeah, this is
You're
what she
never
does.
ready. This is what I keep asking my clients. Are you ready? And they say yes. And I say, no, you're not, but it's good that you think you are. You're going to need that because I'm going to repeat that question in the hardest point of your life, right? Because this is trauma work. Trauma work is in stages, and it's done in a long process. Now it can be shorter if people choose, but in our time, the whole flip of trauma into abundance, into a gift, trauma into a gift, then victimhood into abundance.
Yeah.
Is a damn process. And it happened through my work with Green Gallery, because what I did there is the element of the fire said, you will serve me and I will teach you shamanism, transformation, which is fire.
Yeah.
It's not just fire, it's all the elements. But through the fire, I understood how the elements are dancing in creation and creating transformation one at a time.
Yeah.
The job of each one of the elements in our reality. So I served the fire, and it was by stages. First, like I was working for the fire and learning. I remember I used to go, I light a fire 6 years, 6 days a week, 6 hours a day, I served a fire.
In Green Gallery?
In Green Gallery.
Wow.
And that fire around it was between different 50 to 200 or 500 people every day for 6 years from all over the world. Around the shamanism, around connection, around all this, Copenhagen vibe.
Yeah.
So it was very powerful. And I, again, the reason I know so much about the manifestation is because I was not making money there, but the way I did it, it was about manifestation. You do what you have to do and you will be provided.
Mm-hmm.
You just follow what you need to follow and life will take care of you. Now, that was the basic. I learned to jump from basic and increase level of abundance because I want to, not because I need or just because I feel like it, right? So this is where I am today. But at the time, I was provided. So I started to work for the fire and I went every day to find lots of woods. And at the beginning, I burned all the wood in one day. And then the fire started to tell me about and air and this and directions and all this, And every time I got stressed, the fire said, you focus on me. I make sure everybody's okay.
Yeah.
And the fire attracted musicians, this, that, everything that came because the fire became magnetic. And so am I.
Yeah, for sure.
Ego was building. Ego was rebuilding. It's a little bit like mandala. So the more the fire is building itself and becoming more abundant and more beautiful and more attractive and more this, so am I.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was in the top, the fire said, okay, you built me up. Now I started to provide and I showed you how powerful I am. Now you're going to give me back everything you think you are. And she took everything from me one by one. Everything. My dignity, my money, my this, my pain, my body, everything I had to put for 3 years. I had to put in the fire everything I thought I was. One by one until I stood and I said, I've got nothing. You took all. And in that nothing, Corona hit the world and I closed Green Gallery and with less than $200 in my pocket with one of the most successful places in Copenhagen, nearly without friends and community, I left. I gave it up. And I gave it up to a very particular, in my perception, masculine.
Okay.
Right? And I said, take it. I pay karma, all my contribution to the patriarchy, the way it looks, the way it is, the way it serves, the way it builds. And I don't ever want you to knock on my door again because I paid my debt until the end. So these are karma rolls.
Wow.
Once you want to live your reality, in the end, you have to pay karma. Not in the beginning, in the end.
So it seems like Green Gallery was kind of a shaman initiation for you.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
When I left there, I left without nothing. But I was free from all my past realities, all my identities, all my perception. I cannot say all because I'm still freeing myself, but I knew the process of out, not with ayahuasca, not with any psychedelics. I knew the process out because I've done it and I walked it. And this is what I teach now. And I received my so-called enlightenment, which is not enlightenment. In my opinion, you don't get enlightened. But I connected to all that is enlightened and aware to itself, which is consciousness. And now I allow consciousness to give me back the love that I was giving for I don't know how many lifetimes to creation, and then being service to me and whoever wants to enjoy that and be inspired by that. I have no agenda when I talk, also when I work. I have no agenda, no money, no nothing. I don't really mind because I'm already okay.
Yeah.
I'm more than okay.
Wow. Thanks for sharing the story. Wow. Really, getting goosebumps. Because I'm also like, I was a visitor of Green Gallery like 5 years ago or something like that. Yeah, we always took hummus from you. So yeah, and I just
It was a conscious shamanic tantric hummus.
Good to know that now. Yeah, we just passed by, and it was always like the center of the community. Yeah, you can feel it. The people were there, and you did
the Kopangan conscious community, which is very powerful, and for me one of the most advanced in the world.
Yeah, for sure.
And Green Gallery definitely was one of the energies that formed that into that circle, into that intelligence. And again, as much as I allow my ego to say that it was my energy that was creating it, I was part of it 100%.
Yeah.
And I was in service to that. And I'm done. I'm done. That's why a lot of people like, you miss it? Are you this? Yeah, I do. Of course. It's there is a hole there, right?
Yeah.
For all of us. But as you can see, many are creating in our community a beautiful spaces here.
Yeah.
I do not want to name and benefit one on the others, but there are amazing creativity coming. Some of it is inspired, and I know it directly by what happened in Green Gallery, and light the fire of others to create their own shamanic spaces. And I am done. I am done with that kind of community service. And everyone who's doing it now, and we have to do it. You have to do a community service. You have to do a group work and a community service if you want to do shifting in your life into the new paradigm of heaven and reality and You have to work with yourself first, then with your community. You have to be in service, and then you're done. And then you're ready to receive. But you're not ready to receive before you really unconditionally give.
What happens directly after you could let go Green Gallery with yourself but also with your business? You're going directly into something new, or you just took yourself a little bit off the path? And
again, that fire of creativity started to bubble, but this time I owned it. I was not serving that creativity outside of me to teach me about my creativity. I was serving myself. I was in service to myself, and my energy is now in service to me. And we work together and we're aligned. So my soul and my body are aligned, and there is no unbalanced. This is how I feel, of course. And when there is unbalance, it's calling into balance again. But most of my flow is through this alignment and neutrality. By the way, when you're aligned, you're not happy. And you are not happy. Yeah. You are in neutral, which what I said, neutral is from the perspective of human, neutral is positive. So you are in the positive neutral.
So,
but you're not like, if I'm going it's the human aspect in me. It's a child. So that defines itself according to what happened. So if someone tell me, oh, wow, your podcast was amazing, there is an aspect in me, ego, little child, that goes, yeah, I'm going to be loved. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm aware of that because it means nothing about me, this podcast or anything that we do. This is mean nothing about me in personal, right? It's just an energy creating itself in the direction of my passion and creativity.
So like chasing neutrality, so maybe becomes the new chasing happiness.
Yes.
Okay.
Beautiful said. Beautifully said. Minus the chasing. Me, I have to work with you on on putting words, right? As a formal Jewish, we got the codes of word. It's very important. When you put together letters and this, you construct. You charge you charge energy on that. When you use words, you charge energy on that, and that starts to charge the energy, and then it projects to you what you.
So let me put it again. So chasing neutrality or allowing neutrality is becoming the new what chasing happiness been in the past.
So yes. So allowing neutrality is not. When you're in neutral, energy is allowed, but only there you have to certain work, and it's not work, it's choose. Is choose to strip out of meaning every situation that you're giving meaning to, especially negative. I mean, we start with the negative and also then positive.
Yeah.
So this is the only action sort of thing that you do in life.
Yeah.
In consciousness. Choose. Yeah. So here is the meaning that I give when somebody tells me that my podcast was interesting. The meaning that I give is, oh, I'm loved. Oh, I'm smart. Oh, I'm interested. Oh, I helped him. Or these are all meanings. They are not true. But they are from the perspective of the physical human that I am, which is why I still give it space. But at the same time, I give meaning. I choose to strip down of meaning and go back to neutrality. So I will say, thank you very much. And I will feel that. And I say, oh, okay. You're allowed to go. And then neutral energy is coming. And then I'm not activated from that little child that says, oh, give me more of that. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, whatever comes is whatever comes. If it's a thank you, it's okay. If it's I didn't like it, it's okay. If everything is okay. Everything is just what it is. It has nothing to do with me. And it's a very different way to live your life, because where is all the feelings? They're felt very fast and grounded, like an electricity, because meaning is an electricity charge, and it's coming from the energy, and it needs to go back to the ground and reform itself into different kind of abundance. So if I want more creativity, if I want to express myself more new, if I want energy, a lot of abundance, going through me fast. There is always a lot of abundance. It's always fast. But going through my physical body fast, I need to be neutral. The more I bring myself into neutrality, the more I allow energy to flow through me in the most natural, authentic, and creative way. This is truth. This is an understanding. This is a way. This is a new building stone of my reality. This is a new perception.
Wow, such a big aha moment right now. Like with with this just simple technique of being neutral.
Right.
Yeah. And from this neutrality to allow abundance, happiness, all this kind of stuff.
Also, neutrality serves shadow. How? Because if you are bring yourself to neutrality and then this thing comes back again, you know where to look. Because many times you take this advice, and many people will take this advice and remember to strip out of meaning and to remember to be neutral, and they start to be neutral, and it's going to work for them amazing. And then some things come back and they're like, we're not neutral about it. Stop lying to yourself. Yeah, you can't let go of what she said, what he said, what they've done, your mother, your father, your neighbor, your ex, your neighbor, you can't, right? It comes back. And then inner child shadow work says, remember you didn't know where to look.
Yeah.
This is where you need to go, because it's coming back. It means it's an unresolved issue, and it's related to your desires at the moment for expansion, which we talked about it yesterday, changing your perception about yourself. More clients, more money, more exposure, more people listening to me. So it's related there. So here is for you to test yourself, to try to be neutral. And when something coming back to poke you, you're like, okay, there is something deeper you want me to look at. However, there is another step before that. Allow emotions. If you're protecting yourself from feeling and you're always okay in a forced neutral.
Yeah, it's like a spiritual bypassing.
It's a spiritual bypassing. Exactly. So first you feel, then you let go. You said, I felt it, I bring it back to neutral. It's only feeling. It's not what it is. It's not the meaning of what it is. I feel jealous. It doesn't mean, and this is when we did all the shadow work, to understand that jealous means they don't love me, or they love someone more, or my value is less than the value of the person I am jealous with. So we do this shadow work. we allow feeling to ground, one by one, because the old pattern is always going to come. I'm never going to not be jealous.
Yeah.
But I do it very quick. I'm jealous, and then I'm like, but I already know my value, right? So I let it go. At a point, it disappears, but at the beginning, you just do it very, very quick. And when you do that, it's not like... So a lot of people jump into the polarity. I am jealous, therefore I'm giving more value to the person in front of me. Therefore, I'm devaluating myself. I bring more value and I remind myself how good I am, and then I feel good. So I moved from jealousy and not feeling good about myself into I'm feeling very good about myself. This is polarity.
Yeah.
My point is to not feel at all. After you did that, remind yourself that you have a value which is different than hers. Remind yourself that you can't compare. It's just a reminder the jealous that you haven't felt when you dealt with it in a different lifetime, the whole story.
Yeah.
I'm doing it very quick. I hope people follow.
Yeah.
But this is shadow work. If someone wants to do that, they have to go to a professional shadow work, commercial, and do that.
Yeah.
So you remember I said yesterday to one of the people who asked question, healing is part of the trauma, is a pattern of the trauma, and at one point becomes the trauma itself, reinforcing the trauma. So once we did all that, we have to go back to neutrality regarding our traumas. We cannot continue carry the story that there is a trauma and I'm healed from the trauma, because you're not healed.
Yeah. And so many people, they do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I used to have a trauma and I'm healed from my trauma.
Yeah.
I used to hate men and now I love men.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I show you how to love men too.
Yes. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Yeah. Spiritual ego here. It's an important stage.
Yeah.
But it's just one stage. So if you and it works at the beginning, you have your power back. You're amazing.
Yeah, but the shadow grows like bigger and bigger.
Oh, it just go in a different direction. You're still victim of your own story, just from the other perspective of it. And abundant cannot be victim.
Yeah.
Abundant cannot be victim. So, yeah.
Yeah. Good sentence to close.
Yeah.
But I just want to let's have some one or two last questions about your work. So you said like shadow work, and you work with people here on the island as well, but also online. So is it a kind of a business right now, or well, what are you doing actually?
Very good question, which I am asking myself. So there is few directions. I am committed to one-on-one sessions for those who want to go deep. I do not take anyone. Not everyone is ready for that process, because it's not only working on your trauma, is letting go work. So you have to be ready to consider that you are part of reinforcing your own trauma and take responsibility on that and step out of all form of victimhood. And some people are not ready, and that's totally fine. We're just going to direct them into where their vulnerable inner child can still be held from other spaces in the healing community, which are full, so beautiful. And sometimes I go there to hold myself and remember that vulnerable, because I'm working with vulnerability.
Yeah.
So I it's a good reminder to tap into that human that we are. So I do the online one-on-one work with clients. And once in a while, something awaken in me in the terms of community and my desire to reach to more people. And that's why I'm here now. That maybe through your podcast, we will reach more people. Not maybe.
Yeah.
We are reaching
more
much
people. Period.
more people. Wow, so many people are listening to us.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that, and my creative bubble is experimenting, planting new seeds on the ground for them to grow.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know where it's going. It is an experiment with others like me and with others that feel inspired by my work and team up with me. And we hold spaces in the tantric and shamanic work. So we're doing full moon ritual ceremonies, working with cacao, working with shamanic medicines, working with somatic practices, emotion movement, breath work, eros, erotic energy, creative force of sensuality and sexiness that is healing the masculine and the feminine within ourselves, getting rid of all shame and guilt and maturing into sensual sexual being and separated from the field of victim and childhood and take it, grow it. So I'm still exploring that because this is new and I am new.
Yeah.
So in a way, my inner child gave birth to another aspect of child, which I call the birth of the divine child. Now, this divine child is growing into divine mature, embodied divine mature, mature master. And it's not a master, it's not a Jedi, it doesn't go with full of light and this, it's just walking on this planet in a very different way, moving energy, working with energy, creating with energy in a very different way.
Yeah.
So I'm experimenting these fields because it's so interesting.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun, and it's so and it's the new dangerous.
Yeah.
Right? It's the new dangerous.
Yeah.
It's the new
taking risks. Yeah.
Yeah. So it feeds that part of me as well, the adventurous and the that one.
Okay. Yeah, I will link as well your Instagram account. I think it's I am Cosmic Witch.
Yes.
So there the people can find out more about you, about your work. And yeah, big recommendation when you're here on the island on Kopangan. So, and I know a lot of people from the audience maybe want to visit this place. So yeah, check in with Michal and going to a full moon ceremony, the cacao ceremony. I can really recommend that because also there it's all about like creating these circles and there's no agenda to it and there's no like really structure, you say by yourself all the time. So people coming, doing music, sharing wisdom talks and everything around the fire, singing, playing music. And I think it's really important work you do here. And I hope that it's not just on these islands or like spiritual bubbles like here in Kopangan is where this works needs to be done. So because my dream is also that at some days maybe it's in Sangerhausen in my hometown.
I think Kopangan is a prototype.
Yeah, for sure.
It shows what can happen to a community through this work, and it says if we can do it here, now let's take it to anywhere. I mean, this is all work through the bodies. It has nothing to do with Kopangan. It's very nice to do it here, but it's has nothing to do. And Kopangan itself is growing into this entity that allows more and directing it in a way. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to reflect also on you, like our friendship started in a very different way. And in the last year, I think, more and more I got to see parts of you in the shamanic spaces. And we chose to collaborate and work with each other in the organic and natural way. And something grew there. And so it's very beautiful. I'm very grateful. You bring a lot of beauty in and out into the spaces near me. You have your unique way to share your gifts, and it's very beautiful to see. Thank you. Give yourself more water of love and light. Nurture that. That self-love, nurture that, so you can really, really flourish in this direction.
thank you for supporting me on the way and to pull me into the spaces as well.
Absolutely.
And I'm really happy that we have this connection and that we grow together and will serve the community even more.
I wait for many more interactions.
All right. Thank you, Michal. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your time.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.